Coming to you from the My Michigan TV studios.
We're going to kick you in the teeth.
It's the Roar Live.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
With hosts, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach, Tony Blankenship.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
The Outsider, Scotty William, and Corey Tiez.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Hello and welcome to the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, Facebook, YouTube, and beyond. I'm Scotty William. The Roar Live is your streaming choice for Lions coverage and commentary from fans like you and our panel, including Tony Blankenship and Corey Tiez. Today on the show, we'll recap the final preseason game, get to know Tony's takeaways. We're going to watch some highlights. And the question of the week. We'll have Super Bowl picks, a look at the opener at Ford Field against the Lions and, against the Rams and Matt Stafford, his revenge game. And we'll also have the first week NFL matchup predictions. This show is all about you. We want your comments, but this ain't radio, baby. So if you want to hear, we don't want to just hear you. We want to see you right on the Zoom. Right there on the screen is that Zoom. We want you to pick up that camera and get in on the Zoom. It's easy. Just scan the QR code and the screen, and it'll take you right to the link. And let's start off with this man right here. This man right here, Tony Blankenship. He is a former University of Michigan quarterback, defensive back. He's played from 89 to 93. If I'm not, and I'm trying to talk you up here, Tony.
Sure.
You were the number one player out of the state when you came out.
Yes. Yeah. Number one high school player in the state of Michigan when I came out of high school, and number 2 in the Midwest.
And not only that, you took your talents to the coaching realm.
I did.
After your playing days.
Yes.
And got yourself, 3 Coach of the Years?
Yeah.
Were they all for the same school? Because I know you've coached a few different schools.
3 different schools.
Nice.
Coach of the Year at 3 different schools and won three different city championships.
And not only that, you are also a Hall of Fame, Michigan High School Hall of Fame head coach.
Yep. Blessed. Appreciate that.
So we have this guy right here we're going to have the rundown. He'll be able to explain to you any kind of play. If we always have the questions, if you have questions for Tony about the Lions and what you think, zoom in on the QR code. Well, we're going to go to the first cut, and that is the Steelers touchdown. Cordell Patterson started things off pretty good as they went up 7-0. How do you feel about Cordell Patterson? He was a pretty good with the Atlanta Falcons, and I think he's going to make a difference for Pittsburgh. What do you think, Co?
Well, yeah, they need all the help they can get. Now, Patterson, was he like a gadget
yeah.
kind of a
Slash
guy? Always kind of been that.
A lot of different things.
That's going to help because I think that Pittsburgh is going to be a gadget team.
Right.
And I say that because of the 2 quarterbacks. I think they're going to use them both. Whoever wins the job, fine, they'll be the first-string quarterback. But I also think with the way Fields, the talent that Fields has, if Russell wins, the talent that Fields has, they're going to use him in certain situations. I believe that. I believe Tomlin's going to go with a 2-headed monster. Whoever wins the start, now the starter will probably get more more playing time than the second string.
Yep.
But I do believe that they're going to be more like some gadgets here, some different plays here, some for Fields. Like you got Patterson. That's how I think they're going to win football games.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Blake?
We talk about all the time how teams are a replica of the personality of what they have. Mm-hmm. And Pittsburgh only has what it has as far as the roster is set up for. Yeah. Patterson is a guy that's going to be able to do a lot of different things for him, as you mentioned. He's going to be able to help them in a couple of different ways, receiving, special teams, as well as, in the backfield, run the football. Yeah. I agree with you that both quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, will both play. Mm-hmm. I personally believe, though, guys, that ultimately just Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I believe ultimately that is what will happen.
Why do you say that?
I think that his weapons and him being able to do so many different things beyond just throwing the football down the field, his legs, his athleticism, his strength. He's a physical dude.
Yes.
He gives them a better opportunity to make plays where there are no plays. I think Russell's window is closing, and I believe that at this point, Pittsburgh is much better off with Justin Fields as their quarterback.
Okay. Michael Pruitt also had a pass and took it down to the 3-yard line. What do you see on this with a Michael Pruitt? Was that something you're going to see the Steelers use guys like that right up the middle?
It's a great job by Justin Fields. Seam route right down the middle. Good throw right over the hand of a linebacker. Just a good job. A good job by the quarterback, making a good play and a good catch by the receiver. And I like seeing Justin Fields sit in the pocket and make throws like this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Blake. I saw more Fields on that play.
Yep.
Well thrown ball, right where the receiver could catch it and keep going. He has the talent and the skill to do that. He will do that. It's just, can you stay consistent doing it?
Yep.
He can throw the ball, man. He can. Yep. He's an all-around type guy. So I look at that one as just more Fields. The receiver did his route, well thrown ball.
Michael Perrin scored on the next play to put Pittsburgh up 14-0. And here's a guy that I think is probably going to be involved in that Pittsburgh offense in some capacity, especially in that backfield.
Yeah, he's solid. He's a young man, I think, that's been there for a little while. We talked about it a little bit earlier, Scott, you and I. He's talented, and he's going to help Pittsburgh. He's going to give him some depth, and we're just looking for them to continue to do what they do, run the football. They're a solid football team. This is something we talked about earlier. They're going to have to be able to run the football to give them the best chance to be successful.
Yes.
They're going to have to be able to be just a basic group up front where they got to be able to keep the football out of other teams' hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next play we have is the kickoff return from this guy, Isaiah Williams. He has been really showing his stuff in preseason. I think he's going to be a third receiver. I think he could beat out Donovan Peoples-Jones. What do you think?
Well, I think you have Raymond. That's the third now. And I like Isaiah Williams. We talked a lot about him last week, and he's a very talented young man. He's an undrafted free agent from the University of Illinois.
Yes.
Very shifty, quick, speed. Not a big guy. He's probably about 5'9", 180 pounds. And the talent is there. Whether or not he can take that third spot, that third receiving position, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
He's got some veteran guys ahead of him who've played in a lot of big games, been in a lot of big-time situations at the NFL level. So I do like him, Scott, but he's going to have to earn his way to that spot.
You know what, Blake? I don't think it's going to be as hard as it is, as you think, if people think, because the kid is talented. I see 2 ball catchers for the Lions. That's just me. You got Raymond and you got Laporta. Anything else? Okay, whatever. Isaiah can get in there.
St. Brown?
I mean, no, we got St. Brown, and you got Laporta.
Those
are two.
tight,
those are two guys that are going to catch the ball.
Yes.
So I think wide receiver wise, the room is wide open.
I agree with
Why
that.
not get him in there? I don't. Who else? Like you said Raymond or what? But
yeah. Well, we're going to find out.
I'll see him being used.
Yeah.
Down the stretch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have a Zoom caller right here on the My Michigan TV, the Roar Live. You are watching that. Q is on the line, and he is a Detroit Lion fan.
Diehard fan.
Diehard fan.
Oh, okay. Diehard fan.
Q, there he is.
There he is.
How are you, Q?
What's up, Q?
Can't hear.
He says he can't hear.
Little audio issue there.
How about, can you hear us, Q?
Can't hear us.
I don't know if you can hear me.
There he is. I
There
can
you
hear
go.
you,
Hear you,
Q.
though.
Oh, there you go. We got you.
He says he can't hear us.
Oh, you can't hear us.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna go to a highlight. Q, stay on the line. We're gonna get that taken care of for you. Here is a nice Hooker run for a first down. Now, we were talking about Hendon Hooker earlier in the game, especially in the first quarter, Tony, and we were talking as how he seemed a little indecisive there in the first couple of series, but he seemed to calm down.
Yep.
And what in that first couple of series where he was kind of indecisive, do you think it's just lack of experience?
I think he spent a little bit of time not playing a game of football because of injuries, and that matters. Anybody who's played the game and understands that you need reps, you need to be out there playing. And with him having to sit out because of the injury and then not getting a lot of reps, he needs reps. And you could see he actually started out pretty strong. As Corey and I talked about, he started off really pretty good, then he fell off, and then he tried to come back. He came back and played a lot better, which we'll talk about with some points coming up soon. But he definitely needs reps, and he got a lot of them today. He was able to start off, pretty good, and he uses his legs well, as we know. He's athletic, as we know. I just think it's going to take some time for him to continue to get reps, and the game's going to have to slow down for him. Right now, the game's moving way too fast, in my opinion.
Hooker did look pretty good on this next clip. Hendon Hooker, he escaped a sack. He kind of ran around a little bit. How do you feel about that?
Well, again, if you're looking at this piece here, he's able to duck under a defender and get downfield and get some positive yardage. That's good. The thing, as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach for the Lions, what you want is you want to be able to get that ball driven down the field. You want the ball to be vertically thrown. You want to be able to make some plays. Those are all positives when he can do what he's doing. That's great, but that's not what the play call is set up for.
Does it scare you a little bit, that he's running the football and, he's not really being safe with it, so to speak, injury-wise? Is that a lack of experience from what you think?
I think it's a little bit of that, a little bit of the fact that he just hasn't had a lot of reps. He hasn't had a chance to play at the NFL level, a lot of plays. So he's learning, the speed of the game, learning the physicality of the game. He's definitely going to have to protect himself. If he's going to run that many times, and I'm not totally sure of the stats, but I think he got over 80 yards rushing today, but he ran the ball a few times. He's going to have to be able to protect himself. You're not going to be able to play that style of football in this league and last long. It's not realistic. No one has ever been able to do it.
The biggest takeaway depth-wise for the Lions is linebacker. And Ty Summers had a sack on third down there in the second quarter as we look at that highlight. What, defensively wise, linebacker position, what are they really looking for, the Lions are looking for in depth? Well, is it speed? Is it a little bit of both? Is it the intelligence of wanting to see how the quarterback's going to react?
All the above.
Okay.
You got to have some stout guys who are able to plug holes and fit, what we call in the football terms. You got to be able to fit in your gaps. You got to be able to make plays in your gaps and play through your gaps. Okay. Summer did a great job on that blitz, that particular call we just saw on the clip there, and making a play. He got a chance to get around off the running back and make him miss and get a sack there. Good football player. I like what I saw out of him today. He's aggressive.
Isn't that what they need? Have they had a linebacker since Spielman? Like a middle linebacker?
That's a long time ago, there, brother.
But this guy looks like a real football player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to help. I think he can help them. He looked good. He looks good. He looks like he's hungry to play around the ball.
Yes.
Like Blake said, you want all that combined. But and some intelligence. So I haven't seen.
He stood out to me more than anyone today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed watching him. He's flying around. He's like I said earlier. He's fitting where he's supposed to fit. He's blitzing in timely ways where he's creating havoc and causing problems. He's a football player. And a lot of coaches, at the end of the day, they just want a guy who can play the game and just go out there and fly around and make some plays.
A Campbell guy.
And he did today. He's definitely a Campbell guy. Definitely.
Speaking of making plays, Caden Davis is making a name for himself at the wide receiver position for the Detroit Lions. He made a nice catch here in the second quarter. We know that the depth for the wide receiver for the Lions is kind of shaky. You think Caden has a shot to make the team?
I think he can be a practice squad player.
Okay.
Someone they'll keep on the roster to help them throughout the week, get them prepared for the schedule. I don't see him cracking the lineup right now. They seem to have a solid group. As we mentioned, Isaiah Williams is probably going to be a part of that group. And as Corey mentioned, they got Laporta and those guys, tight end, and the other receivers that are there. They got a good group. I don't see him cracking the 53-man roster, though. I think he'll probably end up being a practice player.
Real quick, Blake,
sure.
From that practice squad,
sure.
So how many do they carry on that?
You know what? I think it's 9 total.
Okay.
I think it's 9 guys that are on the practice squad.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it's about nine players.
Okay.
Well, the running back position is pretty much solidified with Montgomery, Gibbs, and Vaki. But Jake Funk had a nice run on the first down there in the second quarter. Do you think he's a practice squad guy, or do you think he finds his way on the waiver wire?
Again, I'm thinking he could help them special teams wise, just like Davis, practice squad guy possibly as well. They're going to keep whatever they need depth wise. Because injuries are going to be a part of that. As we mentioned last week, you're going to have some guys to help you at certain positions. We do understand, throughout the season when the injuries occur, you want to keep the level of players at those particular positions. If you already have some injuries going on, and Gibbs already is a little dinked up with the hamstring.
Just keep that in mind.
That's
folks.
a possibility. So you want to keep those kind of guys around.
Yep.
And again, they're going to help you with your special teams. They're going to be guys who play and help you during practice, and as well, I can see him being a really solid special teams player for the Lions.
Looking at the second quarter, Hendon Hooker again took a keeper to the 2-yard line. And we've seen his scrambling ability. We see what he's able to do. Scrambling ability a lot more difficult to do than, let's say, a Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not a scrambler.
No.
And so do you see that being a strength for Hooker? Do you see this? I know you think we were talking about he was probably going to end up being a third stringer.
Yes.
But with a Hooker, do you feel like that is a future number 1 quarterback for the Lions down the road, maybe?
I don't see that right now.
Okay.
I wish the young man the best. I think he's he's playing hard and he's trying to get better. I don't see him as a starter in the NFL as we speak today. Corey and I, we talked about it a little bit. The fact that he's running so much a lot of times has a lot to do with the fact that he's unable to see and break down the defense as fast as you have to be able to do it as a quarterback back there. He's not seeing his checks fast enough. He's not being able to get to his levels of, his 1, his 2, and his 3, even 4 receiver. Yeah. And some of it is because also he's impatient. He's quick to go.
Take off.
As opposed to being able to, take what they give you in certain situations. And some might say, well, he is taking it because he's running football. He didn't always have to. Give it a chance down the field.
Right.
You got a chance to get it, vertically and make some big plays down the field.
Yeah.
He's got a good arm. He's a talented young man. He's just got to continue to play and get better. But to answer your question, Scott, no, I don't think he's a starter right now.
Okay.
So real quick, reading the play, so reading the receiver or actually
reading the defense, breaking the defense down, getting a chance to see if they're in zone, if they're in man, if there's some holes in that defense to make some plays.
Gotcha.
He's not picking that up fast enough.
Gotcha.
When you see him taking those kind of sacks that he's taking, he took 3 in a row at one point today.
Yeah.
And when he's taking those kind of sacks, that's because he's not able to break down the defense and what they're doing and what's happening. Either that, and I spoke about this earlier, Corey, you and I talked about this, or the play calling isn't conducive to him yet.
Okay.
And coaches have to be able to coach according to their personnel.
Yeah.
You can't coach all the time to your scheme and your system. If you have a guy like Hunter, you have to be able to make sure that he can play according to what he's able to do in his strengths.
Gotcha.
I think we have Q back up on the Zoom. Am I correct, guys? There he is.
Yes.
Hey, Q.
What's up, Q?
Hey,
Thanks for calling in tonight here on the Roar Live. What do you want to talk about? How did you feel about the Detroit Lions' third preseason game?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Thank you. First and foremost, I'm a huge Lions fan, but preseason for me is brutal. Today, you get a chance to see certain aspects of the game, but it's like, the Lions. I don't ever want to say the same old Lions. I don't want to say that, but I'm just trying to look for the pros and cons out of it. And today I saw a good balance, but I still think our defense, the defense, we need to address it. It seems like it's going to be a thorn in our side this year.
Wow.
Q, were you shocked that they didn't play any first stringers?
You know, yeah, because we're so close to the season. I think a little bit. I mean, maybe just maybe the first. I won't say the first quarter, but maybe just the first rep. You gotta have your starters in just so they can get a little feel of it. Because if you don't get them going, it's like they don't get really charged into maybe the second game. When they hold themselves off. So I think they need just a rep or something just to get in there to get the real life feeling of how the season's going.
Yep. I agree with you, Q, on that. It looked to me like, the big bad Lions, they're 12-5 last year. They didn't need to play their starters or, all of it. Earlier you said you were a huge Lion fan, Q. And in all seriousness, why?
Why? You know what? I guess all my life I always rooted for the underdog.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the Lions just in my blood. I mean, I grew up watching the Lions. I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, when I was younger, when I didn't know any better. I used to know the whole team, but, I started rooting for my own team. And, it just, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment.
Our question of the week for everybody is, what is your biggest Detroit Lion memory? It doesn't have to be a certain play, a certain game. It could be, hey, me and my dad used to go to the games together. What is your favorite memory, Detroit Lion memory, Q?
Oh man, I would say it was just a Barry Sanders, his highlights. Just watch him. I had the opportunity to go to a game when I'm gonna take you way back to it, the Pontiac Silverdome. I think it was one of our first. Well, I want to say our first. I think it was a Monday night against the Rams. I want to say Natron Means was the running back. No, not. I forgot his name, but it was a good running back on the Rams, and it was just electrifying. I mean, the Lions. We were on the big stage, and of course we got killed, but it was like I just enjoyed the how America was looking at the Lions on that day, and it just felt good. So I think just being at that game and looking around and just understanding how people viewed the Lions, and that was a huge memory for me.
Wow.
Q, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate your comments and your memories. Thanks for tuning into the Roar Live. We have another Zoom caller up on the line.
Thanks, Q.
And
Thanks, Chris.
We are going to go to him here in a few, but we have some other things. We got a rundown here. We're gonna be talking corgi picks, and we'll explain more a little bit later. We also are going to go into Week 1 versus the LA Rams. Stafford revenge game could be NFL Week 1 highlights, and of course, this man right here likes to tell it like it is, Corey Tiez. He'll have some, I'm sure, inflammatory comments about the Detroit Lions. So, do we have the Zoom caller, guys? Is he ready to go? Let's go to the Zoom. Oh, hey, look who's back. Detroit Joe. Or I should say Eastvale Joe from Flint, Michigan. He was on last week with us.
Yeah,
and we got some comments from him, and he said he said after he got off, there was a lot of things that he needed to talk about and make comments. Joe, how did you feel about Week 3?
Well, like I said last week, preseason is not my favorite time of the year.
Right.
And when you're playing, team 2, team 3, team 4 guys, you're not going to see the best football or the best team that you have. And that's what we saw today, I think, in the last preseason game, of this season. So I'm looking forward to the regular season to get started and seeing some good stuff out of the Lions, hopefully. And if they can stay healthy, I think they have a chance to be a good a playoff contender again.
Joe, where did you get that chain at? I've been looking for one of those. I'm surprised they sell those in California.
Come on, man. You get Amazon, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get anything you want.
How much did that
Amazon
set you? I'm
warehouse.
sure that's not diamond plated. So how much does that set you back there?
Not that much. Not that much, Scott. I think you can afford it, brother.
So how did you feel about this guy's comments right here? His Detroit Lion comments. I know you said
Corey,
you had some things you wanted to say.
No, I just can't understand how Corey has so much hate in his heart for the Lions. I understand the pain, and I don't get the Dallas Cowboys. That's just crazy to me. You're born and raised in Detroit. You got a Detroit family. I don't get it. I don't get the Dallas whole thing. I mean, I get. I know they're America's team and everything, so-called, but we're from Detroit. We don't go with the other guys. I've had to endure a lot of stuff in my 35 years in California, a lot of talk, and I'm glad to be able to give a little bit back nowadays.
And Joe, I got a question for you, and
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you stay tuned in because I got Tell It Like It Is. You're going to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Record-wise, how did they finish? How did the Lions finish this year? What do you think? We got the 17-game schedule now. How do you think they finish?
That's a good question, but it's hard to say, man.
Okay.
It'll all be determined by who's, the injuries. I think injuries will play a key part in whatever is going to happen. I think every team is, after last season, every team is going to gear up for the Lions this year.
Yes.
So they're going to see a little different opponent every single week this year, rather than last year we saw a lot of games where the Lions took an early lead, and teams couldn't catch up. Because we had a solid defense, and we kept the pressure on in the second half. So this year, I see a lot of teams are going to be coming at us, from the first play. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they respond to it, and if they can stay healthy and keep a healthy offensive line. After watching Hendon Hooker today, Goff has to stay healthy or we're in trouble. Bottom line. I just like what I agree 100% with what Tony was saying, in that Hendon was not making reads quick enough to be effective at the speed that the NFL plays at. And he had 2 sacks in a row and then a lost fumble when he was trying to get rid of the ball. And it was all because you're playing third team offensive line, and those the play broke down immediately. He has to be able to recognize that rollout, make a play. It was kind of like that handoff he did last week at the end of the game, where he tried to make a play, but it was the wrong decision to try to hand the ball off on some guy's shoulder. He needed to recognize that there was a broken play, roll out, and try to make a play or make something happen. Or at least hold on to the ball. So.
Well, Joe, thanks for coming back on. We really appreciate you watching. This show is all about you, the fans, and we want to hear you. We want to see you also, because this isn't radio. This is television, and you are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. We have another caller on the Zoom line, Reginald from Alabama. Reginald, where are you? Do we have him up, guys? What do we got here? Not yet?
Not yet. Okay.
Still waiting. There he is. With his ominous green screen in the back, I think. We don't hear him. We can't hear him. But Reg, is that some weird sky back there in Birmingham?
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, Reg, how are you?
All right, guys. How you guys doing?
How did you like the Lions preseason 3 game?
First of all, let me say hi to Coach Blankenship. And,
hello.
Good to see you.
Nice seeing you.
Of course, Corey T.S. And of course, you. How did I like the Lions game? I like the third quarter, fourth quarter.
Okay.
I liked the way they came back in the first half. in the very first quarter, though, I noticed that Hooker, he didn't know what he was doing there for a minute. And the play came up, and he had the running back told him to go to the right. Then he called him back to the left, and so they were running around like the Keystone Cops there for a second. So. Yeah, they do need a backup quarterback, so I assume that they're going to try to find somebody off of the waiver wire and what have you. Because what I've seen so far, and just like the big fellow from California said, if something happens to golf, they're in trouble. Season's over.
I agree.
Roger, what is your predictions for the Lions this year?
You know, last year I enjoyed the games and enjoyed them winning. As far as predictions, I don't know. They got a tough schedule.
They do.
They got a real tough schedule. They're not going to be surprising anybody. Everybody's putting the Lions game on their schedule because of all the Super Bowl talk that the networks are doing. So, and the division is tough. Green Bay really came on at the end of the season last year. And so it's not going to be a picnic. So I really can't give you a prediction. I don't want to be disappointed in my prediction because my history with the Lions has been, I mean, it was the Lions that drove me to fantasy football. So I wanted to see a winner. I wouldn't get one in Detroit.
Wow.
That's a pretty ominous sky behind you there, Reg.
That's the Aurora Borealis.
Well, you have some good views there in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, we do.
Reg, thanks for coming on the Roar Live with us this week. We appreciate
you recognize the hat, don't you, Scotty?
You like my hat?
You recognize his hat.
Oh, yeah, I do recognize that hat. The Detroit Cubs.
Yep.
Did you know that?
I did not know that,
That is the
Reg.
Detroit Cubs.
I didn't know
The Negro League baseball team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks
Awesome.
of the Stars, but there was the Detroit Cubs.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show with us, Reg.
Thanks, Reg.
Thanks,
Thanks
Reg.
for having me, fellas. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Well, the next clip on our highlight reel is a Hendon Hooker pass to Caden Davis. And that is him going right into the end zone. No, I'm sorry, that's Jake Funk.
Yes.
That is Jake Funk. My apologies. Jake Funk, who we just talked about earlier,
Yep.
really was rifling around that field today.
Yep.
Making a name for himself, or trying to.
Just a good call by the offensive coordinator here. It was really a 2-on-1 situation. That backside corner had to make a decision on whether or not he wanted to cover the tight end who did a read route on him, choice route, and then back out into the flat. Can't check both of them. So Hooker did a great job seeing the read and making the best throw and touchdown.
Yeah.
Quarter number 2 at 1:50, Hooker had a pass to Davis to set up what was going to be a touchdown run by Jamar Jefferson. That is the pass to Caden Davis. And then Hooker decided to keep it as he sets up a first down. And this TD by Jamar Jefferson tied it up at 14-14.
You know what? The thing that I noticed, and I know you guys have as well, the Lions are staying true to form in their style of play. You see a lot of play action. They're going to be able to do that because they're going to be running the football a lot. And because they're running the football a lot, they're going to try to throw the football out of play action. They're going to do a lot of faking to the tailbacks and a lot of play action passes downfield just to freeze those linebackers, create some seams in the back in that second level of the defense.
Yeah.
You are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. And there's that QR code to call in. We want to hear from you tonight. We've had Reg, we've had Eastvale Joey on the phone, and we've had Q. Q, I think he's from Michigan.
Q's from Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit.
Yes.
So we got them all over. We got Birmingham, Alabama, Detroit,
Alabama,
and California.
Keep calling, folks.
So let's do this. Tony, what is your takeaways this week from the Lions preseason week 3?
Well, I can break it down to all 3 phases of the game.
Okay.
You go offense, you go defense, you go special teams. Offensively, I thought they're able to do a few good things. Hooker, of course, we talked about some of the issues that he had early. Reg made a great point as far as them settling in and him settling in and playing better, and them coming back from 14 down and closing the gap and eventually taking the lead. They did a solid job in sticking to what they do, running the football, wearing you down, play action. That was good to see. Defensively, they still got a lot of work to do, as my cousin Q mentioned. They got to work on getting that secondary where it needs to be. We know today a lot of those guys will not be playing on Sundays, but the system and the scheme is still what it is, and you still got to have a foundation and a personality of what you are as a football team, and it's something that's going to matter. Those linebackers is going to matter. Getting the pass rush, all those things are going to matter. The Lions weren't one of the top defenses in the league last year. If they're going to contend for a Super Bowl, it's going to be imperative that they play better defensively than they did last season. They will not be a contender without that. And then lastly, special teams, they've definitely improved the kicking game. We did see a mishap early with the kicker kicking the ball before the 20-yard line, which the new rule is if the ball lands before the 20, the team on offense automatically gets the ball on the 40-yard line.
That's huge.
That is huge. That's a problem.
Now we've seen that 2 weeks in a row from Jake Bates. What do you think is just a mental error on Bates' part, or what do you think it could be? I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row.
It's definitely a mental error, but he better get it together because that's a huge problem. You don't ever want a team starting at their 40.
Right.
That's 2 first downs from a field goal.
And it's surprising from a guy that can kick 60-yard field goals that he just wouldn't boom it into the end zone.
Maybe that's the issue.
I'm not, and it could be the issue. Corey and I talked earlier. What a lot of people may not understand is these kickers have to make this adjustment too. Even though he came from the UFL, and I know he's probably used to it a little bit more, the kicking in the NFL as a whole, you've seen this not just with the Lions. A lot of these kickers aren't doing a very good job of getting that ball down the field because I think they're used to their way of kicking the football with a group of guys running cohesively with them.
Good point.
It's kind of a sequence, and that sequence is not there.
Yeah.
And they're on their own. It's like they're back there by themselves kicking. And you may think that's easy, but evidently it's not because we're seeing different.
Yeah.
Well, I'll pose this question. Oh, well, actually, let me give you this question, Tony.
Sure.
From a coaching perspective, is there a time where the coach says, "Hey, I don't want you to boom it into the end zone. Try to get it to about the 1 or the 2"?
You would love that.
Okay.
All right. You would love to get that at any corner of the football field, the 1 or the 2.
Okay.
Down the middle of the field, it doesn't do you any good because chances are the ball is going to roll into the end zone. When you're in a situation and you can kick it, and you want to get it to the corner of the end zones, that's always, something you want to be able to do. But you want to keep it in because if it goes out of bounds, then that's a penalty as well.
Okay. Well, you are watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. The question of the week for everybody is, what is your Detroit Lion memory? Your favorite memory. It could be a game. It could be a play. It could be a player. It could be, hey, I had great Thanksgiving Day games with my family. What is yours, Corey? Do you have, we don't have the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe when the Lions played the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, you know what? Honestly, to be honest, I'm going to be honest here.
Okay.
So the one was when Tucker kicked the 1,000-yarder last year. I think it was last year to beat the Lions. I think it was like a 66-yarder or something like that.
That was a long way.
So that was great because everybody thought they were going to beat Baltimore.
Okay.
And then 2, it has to be the Berry run. I don't know if it was against Dallas or the Bears where he got tackled 10 times and was still up.
That was big time.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And even the Calvin, I'm going a little bit further, but even the Calvin catch that started it all. Yeah. Those are memories for me. But yeah, the Berry run, that was the one. I mean, that's the highlight. He had a lot of them.
What about you, Tony?
I can go as far back, and this is for the diehard Lions fans from back in the day. And I know I talked about Billy Sims last week. I'm going to talk about him again. I don't know if you guys remember, Billy had a play. We actually kicked the guy in the chest.
Yes, I remember that. Was it against the Oilers?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
against the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
He jumped.
But he jumped and kicked the guy in the chest
Unbelievable.
while he was running the football.
Yes.
Left his feet and
Yes.
kicked the dude in the chest
Yes,
and
he
kept
did.
going.
That was crazy.
So it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Love watching Billy jump over the pile and score. And then Barry, all over the years,
Yeah.
making those incredible runs that he
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
The one particular one I think is against Pittsburgh, where he actually tore Rod Woodson's ACL.
Oh, yes.
Rod
Yes.
Woodson tore his ACL trying
Yeah.
to tackle Barry Sanders.
Yeah, he did. He came down. I remember the play.
Yeah,
I watched
he
it.
tricked him in the
Yeah.
an open field.
Absolutely.
And he was injured out for the rest of the season.
Woodson moved to safety after that.
Yes, he did.
He went
When he
to
came
safety.
back, he did. And Rod Wilson's one of the best defensive backs in the history of the
Yeah,
NFL.
easy. Top five.
And then lastly is the Lions actually winning a playoff game before this past season, which was the last time they had won a playoff game, which I think was 1992 versus
Yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys,
Yeah.
where they obliterated them. They blew them out.
Yeah.
Those are my memories of the Lions.
Okay.
I think for me, a heartbreak memory would be Eddie Murray's missed field goal. That was at Candlestick against the
Yes.
49ers.
Yeah.
I think it was was it 82?
81?
81.
81.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's 81,
I think
yeah.
the best play I think I've ever seen for a running back would be Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
That elusive when he went from one side of the field to the next.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
one of
that was
probably
amazing.
my
The crowd
favorite.
went crazy. I remember that.
I mean, there was nothing like the Silverdome.
And
No,
you know what's so crazy about the Barry thing? Like in college, Blank, correct me if I'm wrong. You
Yeah.
guys can both correct
Yeah,
me if
sure.
I'm wrong here. Barry ran downhill,
Yes,
right?
he did.
So this guy gets hit in the NFL, and
Yeah.
is that product of the bad offensive line, or I mean, just he ran differently in college.
He did, but he in college at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear here,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know he played in the backfield with Thurman Thomas.
Yes. Okay.
All right, Barry
Yes.
was a backup.
Yes. Sure. Yes.
At Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Actually was a kickoff returner his first year. Didn't get a lot of reps. Didn't get a lot of time. He got a lot of garbage time. Also, though, looking at his Heisman year, Barry rushed over 2,000 yards in college. He was sick.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was unreal.
What this guy was able to do.
Yeah.
And so for the Lions to be able to get a franchise, home run hit guy like that, and as Corey mentioned, he ran downhill a lot in college. And Oklahoma State's style of play was different. They weren't doing a lot of stretch and zone running. They were doing a lot of downhill, A, B gap, C gap, fullback support. ISO is what we call it at that level. ISO football with the fullback leading your tailback into the hole. So different. He was back there by himself a lot.
Wow.
And when he got to the Lions.
Amazing.
Well, some of you may have seen this sweet little dog, Corgi, and he likes to do predictions. I've seen him do basketball.
Okay.
I've seen him do NCAA.
Okay.
But this little dog, picked the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And we have a highlight. Here is this dog picking the Detroit Lions to go to the Super Bowl. Not only that, but to face, this is here, let's see. As you see there, it drops in. The Lions are going the
drops in the
AFC
Wow.
to take on.
KFC.
No.
No.
It'll be the
KC, I'm sorry.
Lions. I believe that says the Lions LA. And then for the
Yeah.
NFC Championship,
Yeah, okay.
with the Lions winning, and the Super Bowl over the Texans.
Over the Texans.
And to be honest with you, that Corgi's been right on some things.
How often though?
Well, I don't know about that.
You're
but
wrong on this.
hey, that was a
Shout
nice
to
little
Corgi.
clip.
Yes.
So week 1, guys.
Yep.
You know how much I love Matt Stafford.
Yep.
We do know.
We've
know.
talked about that on our show, the Cohen Bro Opinion Show.
yeah.
I love Matt Stafford, but let me just tell you something. Is this a revenge game for Matt? I think he's got a lot to prove. He lost in the playoffs to his former team. How do you feel week 1 is going to go for the Detroit Lions? I mean, that's a big game. The first 2 weeks are big games.
Yeah.
Against the teams you beat in the playoffs. But for the Rams, how do you feel the Rams are going to fare in week 1?
The Rams beat them.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Stafford, I don't even.
In Detroit with
Yeah.
that rabid crowd?
Yeah, should have beat them last year, but last year's last year. The Rams beat them. The rookie corners, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that defensive backfield going up against all the weapons. that the Rams have. I think the Rams defense is steady enough to hang on. Stafford, of course, the chip on his shoulder, but I don't really think it's any more the chip or the revenge game. I just think it's Stafford's a competitor. He wants to come in and, and show the Lions he was the guy for years and years and years. I was the guy that you guys depended on. We flip-flopped, Goff and Stafford. I think, obviously, Stafford's a better quarterback than Goff. But I just think that, again, it's hard to beat people, twice, 2 times in a row. You know what I mean? And I think, like I said, the Rams have a lot to prove this year.
That's true.
What better way to start it, at Ford Field?
Yep.
What better way to Stafford come in, him and Kelly, shout out to Kelly, come in and take that game and get out of there. I think they beat him. I think the Rams are a very talented bunch, and I think they got the edge of coaching. So,
what kind of a score do you think?
I like 30. I like 30 to 21. I like 30 to 21. Yeah.
Tony, what do you think?
You know what? Just to add on to what Corey is saying, the fact that this is an NFC matchup of playoff teams is a big deal. I think that we're missing it, trying to think that this is a Stafford thing.
Yeah,
this is a huge thing because there are 2 NFC teams vying for playoff spots, trying to make sure they're in the best place seeding-wise towards the end of the year. So this game is going to matter, as you mentioned, Scott, because it could have some impact on what happens in seeding.
Great point.
As far as playoffs later in the year because of matchups one-on-one. If there's a tie, if the records are the same, things of that nature. So it's important that both of these teams obviously get a win here. I personally believe that Stafford is on a mission beyond what he's been in previous years. I think that he's wiser.
He's healthy too, Blaine.
Yeah, he's tougher. He's a different guy. I see a different guy.
And he's healthy.
He's healthy. That helps. I agree with you. I think that he's going to be a MVP candidate this year.
Okay.
I can see him really putting up some amazing numbers. He's got an outstanding receiver group. They picked up one of the top college receivers to add on to that core, and I think they're going to be a problem for the NFC this year. They're going to definitely come in to try to get a steal, and as Corey mentioned, it's hard to beat somebody twice. They're going to be prepared. The coaching staff going to be prepared. There ain't going to be very few secrets, very few things they don't know about each other at this point. The thing that I think is going to be a very close game, though, I think Vegas has it already at 3.5. I'm going to take the Rams to win by 3.
Really? Well, I'm going to go Lions by 3.
Okay.
And it'll be a last-second field goal to end the game by Jake Bates.
Your guy.
My guy. I'm going to go with Jake Bates.
Your guy.
Stick with him, man.
Stick with him.
Well, other NFL Week 1 games, we're going to do that rundown right now. The first game of the week is on Thursday night at 8:20, September 5th. It is the Ravens and Chiefs. And we were talking about playoff teams. I mean, these are 2 teams that could meet each other in the AFC Championship.
Absolutely. Who
do you got on that one, Co?
I got Mahomes.
You got Mahomes?
Yeah.
I got Mahomes.
You got Mahomes?
Early in the year,
I mean, we seen the Lions beat them.
They beat Kansas City
early.
Again, this is a marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long season. I can see Baltimore winning this game just because they got Derrick Henry running the football. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment of teams trying to figure out what Baltimore is going to be. This will be a different type of a team they've had in previous years because they had solid running backs, but they didn't have Derrick Henry.
Right.
And
this is true.
It's going to be a lot of focus on him, which probably will give Lamar an opportunity to make some plays downfield. I'm thinking that Baltimore is going to win in an upset.
I'm going to go with Baltimore also in an upset just because I think the Derrick Henry factor, it will be there for them. Friday night, there's a game Friday night. They're playing like every night of the week now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great.
So Friday night at 8:15, we have the Packers and the Eagles. On who do you? Now this is going to be a good game. Jordan Love, Gilbert Brown. He was on last week with us. I'm sure the cheesehead himself is going to be picking the Packers. I kind of like the Packers in this game. What do you think, Corey?
I like the Packers. I don't think people want to see the Packers. I don't. I think that when you say circling games, I don't think people want to see the Packers. I think they're very, very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
Surprise team, Bears. Nobody wants to see the Packers. I got the Packers in this one.
Where's the game being played at again?
In Philly.
All right, I'm going to go with the home team here.
Okay.
And I think Philly's got something to prove, a lot like the Rams, but even on a higher level. They're a Super Bowl team, like the Rams were as well. They got a great quarterback. They got a great group of skilled players on that Philly team. They picked up some more defensive guys. As I mentioned last week, if that offense and defensive staff can get things rolling, I think that they got a chance. Jalen Hurts is a great player at the quarterback position. I think that Philly playing at home, trying to prove something, again, a very meaningful NFC game. They're not in the same division, but they're in the same conference.
Yes.
This is going to be huge
Yes.
when it comes to playoff implications going forward.
Huge
I'm
game.
going with Philly at home.
Every game counts. Okay.
Philly at home.
Whoa.
You are watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. And we're going to go into Sunday's 1 o'clock games. The Panthers will take on the Saints in New Orleans. Who do you got, Corey?
Who cares?
Not interested in that game?
I'm going to go with the Panthers. I'm gonna go with the
Really?
Panthers.
You're going to go with the Panthers?
I am. I think that I want to give this kid a second chance.
Yes.
And I think they made some moves in the offseason. But these two teams, I don't know what's going on in the Saints. The Saints, I don't know what that's all about. I think structure-wise, I think the Panthers are better. I think they're going to I think they'll win this game.
What about you?
I'm going to go with the Panthers as well. I think they're one of the most improved teams.
Yeah.
In the NFL this season, so I think we'll see them make a leap up. As Corey mentioned, New Orleans have had a drop off, and they're struggling. Their defense is sound always. Kamara is a great player. Don't know who the quarterback is. Don't know what they're going to do receivers wise. Yeah. I got Carolina in this one as well.
Well, I'm going to go with the Panthers also. Going into the Meadowlands, the Giants
New York
bring in the Minnesota Vikings. And, of course, Sam Darnold will be the quarterback for the Vikings. Who do you got in this game?
I got the Vikings, man.
Okay.
The Giants, Danny Dimes, I just don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the answer to their problems. The Vikings have weapons. The defense is good. Darnold's a pro. He's a veteran. Take what the defense gives you. I got the Vikings.
I'm going to go Vikings, too. What about you, Tony?
Vikings for me as well.
All right. All around Vikings. In Cincinnati, the Bengals will take on the new-look Patriots with their new coach. Do we even know who the quarterback's going to be there in New England?
I think May.
They were talking about May.
Okay.
They today got a chance to see some things. He's talking about May is probably going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a decent game, to be honest with you. I really want to see what Joe Burrow's going to do. And Jamar Chase, he kind of, had it a little rough last year.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is, in my opinion, the best quarterback not named Mahomes.
Really?
In the NFL.
Okay.
Bar none. Joe Burrow is phenomenal.
You think they get back on track in Week 1 against the Patriots?
I think they do. I think Cincinnati is going to be a team to be reckoned with this season.
Who do you got, Cole?
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool. I got Joe Cool, too. The next game, the new-look Atlanta Falcons at home against the team you've seen tonight take on the Detroit Lions. The Pittsburgh Steelers come into Atlanta. Who do you have, Cole?
I think the Steelers grit it out.
Really?
I think they grit it out. I think they out-tough them. I know Falcons are talented offensively. I do know that. But Pittsburgh defense, that's what they're built on. That's who they are. Run the ball defense. I think they grit it out and they come away with a win here against the Falcons.
I'm going to go Falcons with this.
Okay.
I think Kirk Cousins has a lot to prove, especially since they drafted Penix, and then you got Bijan Robinson. I think the Falcons will win handedly against the Steelers because I don't see where Russell Wilson is going to do, and you might even see Justin Fields by the end of that game. What do you think, Tony?
I do. I agree with that last point you just made about Justin Fields probably playing in that game. What people are not taking into account enough is that Atlanta has made a lot of good moves defensively. They have some offensive weapons. You got Kirk Cousins, who's going to be a really good quarterback for them, but they went and got some players on that defensive side of the ball. You got a head coach who's got another shot at it, making his mark in the NFL. It's pressure there, though. Atlanta's going to have to be able to show people that they're serious, but they got some players to do it. So I can't see I see Atlanta winning this football game.
The AFC Texans, another AFC game, will play the Colts in Indy. I am going to go with the Texans on this. C.J. Stroud, especially now with them having Stephon Diggs, I think that I'm going to go with a rout in that game. What about you?
Texans by 14.
I think it'll be a little bit tougher game. I am going to go with the Texans, but to watch out for the Indianapolis Colts the rest of this year.
Yeah.
They got some young guys that can really rush the quarterback. They got some really good players on defense that are really tough. Watch the game to be a little bit tighter than 14.
Okay.
Cardinals, Bills. Who do you got?
Bills.
I got the Bills. What do you got?
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Really?
Take the Cardinals. Again,
Buffalo.
Another team that finished the season last year tough and played well. They don't have anything to lose, and they're still building that roster up. Watch out for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Blank, but I'm going to take the Bills right off the bat.
Another game, Corey's favorite new quarterback, Caleb Williams of the Bears. They take on the Titans in Chicago. Who do you got?
Caleb.
Yeah, I think this will be a 14-point game.
You think the Bears win?
Yeah, I think Bears going to be a tough team this year, and I think they're going to handle the Titans pretty easy this year.
I don't even know what the Titans. They're a mess.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on over there. Yeah.
The last 1 o'clock game, Jags Dolphins. Who do you got?
That's going to be a really good football game. The Jags have improved their roster as well this year. Watch out for the Jags as well. We all know about Miami and all the money that was spent and all the great receivers that they have and the running game they have. They don't stop people, though, so we'll see what happens.
Tua plays with a chip still. He's got his money. Although I love Trevor Lawrence. I think Dolphins by 3. Dolphins by 3.
Well, I'm going to go. I didn't make my prediction on the Bears game. I'm going to go Titans in an upset. 4 o'clock game. 4 o'clock game. It shows the Broncos heading into Seattle. Who do you got?
Oh, this is a good one. This is. I don't know, man. I'm going to go Seattle, but this is a tough game. This is going to be an ugly football game to me.
Yeah.
It's going to be an ugly football game to me. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks on this one.
I'm going to go with Seattle as well, but watch out for Bo Nix.
I'm gonna go Broncos.
People need to watch out
guys.
for Mr. Nix. I think so.
Here's a game. Your beloved L.A. Chargers, your new AFC team, Tony, and Jim Harbaugh. They'll take on the Raiders. Come to town. Gardner Minshew, I guess, is going to be the starter in Vegas. Who do you got?
I got the Chargers.
Of course.
There's a shocker.
Yeah, there's a real shocker.
I think Jim will have those guys ready to go. They'll be a physical group. They'll be running the football. I don't think the Raiders have a quarterback. I think they're struggling trying to figure out if they're going to have an identity at that position. I do love the coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, but I think it's going to be a tough year for them this year, and I think that Jim and those guys will do well with the Chargers.
I'm going to go Chargers. What do you got?
Quarterback for the Raiders is who? Minshew?
Minshew.
Yes.
Quarterback for the Chargers?
Herbert. Yeah.
Chargers
it is. A game that's so good for Corey's for week 1. You got the Cowboys going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Do I have to even get your pick, or we already know that?
Sure. I mean, I'm not, always biased. The GOAT calls this game. You got to love that. We're always in prime time. We always play the 1 o'clock. Whatever.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Brady calls this game. So we're always in prime time. I'm going with the Browns here.
What?
Yeah. Blank and
That's
I were
a shocker.
Blank and I were in the break. Browns are tough. Blank and I was in the production meeting earlier. Bland, the other corner, who's led the league in picks, sixes, and picks. Him and Diggs, they lead the world in picks. He won't be there. He will be out 40 weeks. We got a rookie, I think, left tackle with Garrett going up. It's in Cleveland. We lose that game with or without CeeDee Lamb. I got the Browns by 3.
If CeeDee Lamb plays, I'm going Cowboys. If not, I'm going to go Browns.
Definitely going with the Browns regardless of who plays.
Really? Okay.
I just think Watson's going to break out, and I think Dallas is way behind the 8-ball right now.
The last game at 4 o'clock sees the Commanders, the Washington Commanders, going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Do you see? For me, I think I'm going to go Commanders with this. I want to see Jaden Daniels. I think. What do you think?
I like the Commanders. I think that they're going to be a team to watch as well. There are a few teams this year, and you have this going on every year in the NFL, who show up that they weren't very good the year before. I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think they'll beat the Bucks.
Nice.
You guys are going Commanders because they're in the same division with the Cowboys. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go. Everybody thinks I rag on the guy. I'm starting to turn around. I'm getting warm and fuzzy.
You like
with
Baker?
I'm starting to like Baker now. I'm going with the Buccaneers.
You need to play the lotto, everybody.
Bubby Brister. Bubby Brister.
Loved him in college. I like him. I'm taking Bucks.
Well, we know the 8:20 game. We've already talked about that. The Rams come to Detroit. Monday Night Football. Jets take on San Francisco 49ers. This is a game that I really want to see. I am going to go Jets and Aaron Rodgers. What do you got?
Have no problem with A-Rod. I'm going with Sauce. They have to win this game. If this game is the one I want to see maybe the most.
Yeah.
I'm going with Aaron.
Yeah.
And I'm going with Sauce.
I agree. A game that I'm really excited to see. I think everybody in the country is going to be one of the highly most watched games this year. I'm going with the Jets. I'm a defensive guy. Defense wins championships. New York has a phenomenal defense, and they got Aaron Rodgers at the helm now. So watch out for the Jets. And San Fran, I think they're going to beat San Fran.
You are watching The Roar live right here on My Michigan TV. And if you listen to the Cohen Bro Opinion Show, that you can stream us live on your favorite podcasting platform. This guy is very opinionated, Corey Tiez. And this is going to be his segment for the rest of the year. It's called Tell It Like It Is. And Corey likes to tell it like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. So, Corey, what is your Tell It Like It Is this week?
Hey, you said opinionated. A lot of my opinions are really kind of facts. So let's start with this real quick, and I'm not going to drag this on here. I'm going to tell the Lions fans here. This is what happened. Last year, you guys beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Bad. Once you did that, you started believing that you were in the group of everybody, the Super Bowl group, the elite group. That is what got all this chaos going right now. Even though Mahomes didn't have Kelsey or Jones, and I think the Chiefs, they dropped like 85 balls. So you end up beating them by 1 point. So that took the Lions into hysteria, the fans into hysteria. So now everything is, but you still have a ways to go, Lions fans. Second, is the Gardner White thing, is this like if you win the Super Bowl, they give you free furniture? What's the deal with that?
I've heard something like that.
I've heard something like if the Lions make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we need to find out.
Yeah, I think you buy something, if they win, they give you it free.
Wow.
Well, that's great, Gardner White. Good marketing. I want to know who's the marketing director for that, because that's great. 3, this is an organization that's 0-16. You're like Cleveland. You guys are the same thing. 0-16. You haven't won anything in 30 years, and playoff-wise. And I just need everybody to kind of relax and reel this back in a little bit. You guys have a long way to go. The season is tough. The schedule is tough. Injuries. We just talked about Hooker. So just reel it back in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We said last week, everybody can contend for the Super Bowl right now. Everybody's 0-0.
Yeah.
But I need a little bit more reality from Lions fans. I'm hearing a whole lot of stuff, and it seems like it's an automatic route to the Super Bowl. Well, it starts game 1. So, hey, all I'm saying, I can see why you made it to the NFC Championship last year. I can see why. I can understand it. But, hey, my team goes 12-5 every year.
That's true.
Yeah. So, here you are. Here we are. Season 1, game 1. What is it, September 8th?
Yep.
We'll be watching, and here we'll see how that train continues to roll. I'm just saying, take it easy. Take it easy. What does Roger say? Relax.
Relax.
R-E-L-A-X.
R-E-L-A-X.
Relax. I know you're not used to it, but just relax. We'll be all right. Those are my tell it like it is. That's what.
You want me to add to that?
Yeah, let's add to that.
Look, and I know this is Corey's spot, but I got to say this just for the fans, and they need to understand. He makes some great points, but what the fans and the Lions fans need to understand, that this is a marathon.
Right.
You don't need to win the division to win the Super Bowl. You don't need to win 12 games to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
You just need to get in the playoffs. And they need to take the mental mindset that a successful season is a playoff and get into the playoffs so that you can contend and position yourself to get to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Don't get so uptight if they lose 6 games. As long as they get into the playoffs and they have an opportunity to get into the Super Bowl, that's what you want at this point. Don't get caught up. We're going to win 13. Corey made great points. Everybody's all in uproar. They're going in hysteria, as Corey said. Oh, we're going to win 14 games. We're going to go 14-3. It doesn't make any difference how many games you win if you don't get to the Super Bowl and you don't win it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. So at this point, pace yourselves, stay healthy, be in that mindset as fans, be prepared for a long season, and you want to position yourselves to get to the Super Bowl. That's all that matters.
And real quick, Blake, history too. So history, they want to black out the losing history. Well, you're kind of still the same old Lions because you lost a 15-point lead? So that's kind of same old Lions stuff.
17-point lead.
17-point lead. So you want to block, they always want to block out, oh, that was years ago. Well, last year was history too. That was history too.
Good point.
You know, so it's not a definite, it's not a given. You should hear some of these people talk. But here we go. I know.
Lions fans turn to Dallas fans?
No, I said we're 12-5.
I know, but you saying you hear some of these people talk. I mean, I'm saying, well, are they delusional? Are the Lions fans becoming delusional? Oh, you are definitely delusional.
I'm not delusional. I get, like I said, we're always 12-5. Our thing is to win the East.
Oh, this is the first time in me speaking with you. This is the first time I've ever heard you admit that they're not going to win a Super Bowl.
They're not.
Last year when we were on Coin Bro, my first year with you guys, and I would come in as a guest.
Yeah.
You swore Dallas was going to win a Super Bowl.
I said they'll win one before the Lions. Just not this year. There you go. I'm just telling like it is, man.
Well, we want to thank you for we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, or we're going to have about 100 Zoom callers coming in with some negative things about Corey. Thank you for watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, Facebook, YouTube, and beyond. I'm Scotty William. The Roar Live is your streaming choice for the Lions coverage and commentary from the fans like you and our panel of Tony Blankenship, Corey Tiaz. I'm Scotty William. Thanks so much, everybody. And we'll see you after week 1